Okay, I'm here with head coach Drew Richards, Joel Pettiford, and Quay Watson. A 88-70 victory today against North Greenville. Win number 17 in the conference now. Coach, your opening thoughts from today's victory?
I mean, North Greenville is a much better team than what their record says. I mean, they execute offensively. They switched up their defense halfway through the year, so they're icing and keeping it on one side of the floor, and it's kind of funky and it's sometimes hard to read. It takes away a lot of habit passes that we teach our guys to do. But overall, I wasn't very happy with our defensive focus. I thought we had a lot of mental mistakes. And it's just not good enough at this point in the year to do that. And so props to North Greenville. They fought a good game. We've got to be a lot better if we want to accomplish whatever we have left to do this season.
Yeah.
You talked about Quay's offensive development throughout the year and how much he's been kind of a quick study here as a freshman. Especially in the first half, he had a lot of key baskets as you guys were building a lead there. So how important was that for you guys, his contribution?
I mean, it's really important. I mean, Quay has the ability at his size and quickness to kind of get downhill, and he's a really good finisher for his size among trees and stuff. He's got a great feel for the game. The area that we continue to challenge Quay in is defensively, trying to make sure. It's frustrating because he has the ability to be a really good defender, but then he takes possessions off sometimes, doesn't contest shots, loses his focus, and we get burned on it. So, Quay offensively, as we always knew he was going to be an elite guy, but his next big step for our program is when he's out there is being a really good defender that makes us better and isn't a liability at times.
Yeah. Quay, career high for you, 18 points, 7 for 9 from the floor. So how much are you really getting more comfortable here as you're getting here toward the end of your freshman season?
I'm getting a lot more comfortable, just getting in the paint, trying to find spots to get in the paint, find guys so we can score and get the lead, stuff like that. And
4 assists, which was the most on the team as well. So not just making shots, but helping others make shots as well. So how much was that kind of a key part of your game too?
Yeah, because it's a big role, so I just try to fulfill the role, just getting the guys open. It also brings energy to the team, and we didn't have a lot of it, so I just try to keep it going.
Coach, you mentioned some defensive struggles, and especially early in the second half. I think they were 6 for 7 to start the half. But then you turned that around, and they had one field goal for about 8 or 10 minutes from there. And you guys, took off on the scoreboard. So that stretch there, kind of middle second half, obviously was huge for you guys outcome-wise.
Yeah, I mean, I told our seniors, the 2 guys that got scored on at the start of the second half, I mean, the first 2 plays, all we talked about was setting a tone defense in the second half, and then the first 2 plays, they go right at our seniors, and they get kind of deboed straight to the basket. And that's not good enough. That's not our style of basketball. That's not what makes us successful. So, it's one of those things that the frustrating thing is we are a good defensive team when we defend and when we're locked in. But when we just lose our focus and at times and we show that we're not, we can go through stretches when we're not. It's very frustrating because this team talks about doing special things, and ultimately, as anyone that's been a postseason knows, there's going to be times where you're not making shots. And even, we can call regular season, postseason, whatever we say. There's going to be times when you're not making shots, and that's when you need to rely upon your defense. You're not going to shoot 53% from 3 every game. So what can you do to counteract that? And that's why we focus on defense and rebounding so much. So games like this today are very frustrating because they know that, we've shown that, we've proven that over the course of however many games we've played now, and yet we still choose not to do it at times. And so, we've obviously got to do a better job in practice emphasizing it, and we'll get back on Monday and get back to work on that end.
JP, you've been having a pretty strong stretch here recently, and continue that tonight, and some key baskets in the second half as you guys were pulling away. So take me through your game and how important some of those baskets were.
It was very important, to get us going. Lately, I've been on a run, so I just want to keep that up and keep helping the team win.
Yeah, Coach, what have you seen from him here the last 2 games?
I think he's been really good. I think the biggest thing is I think buy into what we're asking him to do has exceeded where it was earlier this season. And I think he's an elite guy when it comes to finishing around the basket and even knocking in shots and rebounding and energy. And when he plays with that kind of energy and physicality, he's as good as, I told him when he got here, you have potential to be an all-league player for us. And I think he's shown that at times, and I think he's shown it here down the stretch. But it boils down to can we consistently do that, especially rebounding, especially finishing, especially sprinting the floor. Because when he does those things, when he plays with that level of energy, he's as good as anybody that we've had here.
Wilson's their best player, of course, but I'm sure you didn't expect 28 from him. What made him so effective for them?
Got a lot of foul calls. And it's frustrating at times because, we're telling our guys one thing and what to do and how to defend them, and yet it was still called a foul. So that gets frustrating because it's hard to communicate with our players on things like that. And we've got to do a better job guarding the ball, obviously. But, he shot 19 free throws for a freshman in this league. Obviously, he was doing something that was getting those calls.
We've kind of talked about it throughout the year, but can you just maybe emphasize how Brad and maybe Jawan's leadership has been this year? Both of them combined 39 points, a lot of big plays throughout the game.
Yeah.
That was able to swing the momentum. But how big are those two leadership roles have been for them?
They've been huge. It's been a long time coming. Brad's really evolved into quite an elite player on multiple fronts defensively, scoring the basketball. Tonight he was 1 to 4 assist turnover, which isn't good enough for us, but he's had games where he's had 6 or 7 assists and 1 turnover, which is the level that he can play at. And I think Jawan has really taken the team under his wing, especially with leadership-wise. We've had some guys that have been leaders in the past that are kind of hot and cold. When things are great, they're great leaders. When things get a little frustrating, it gets a little quieter. But Jawan, so far, over the last half of the season, has really found his consistent voice. And because the guys respect those two so much with their effort consistently in practice, they kind of go with the direction that they're going. So it's kind of like a fire and ice situation with Brad and Jawan. Jawan's consistent. Brad can get ice or get fiery at times. But with those two guys on the floor, you feel pretty good because of that leadership, because that skill level's gotten so far.
And then Mount Olive on Wednesday.
Yeah, it's a crazy style of basketball. They're pressing. It's 40 minutes of straight press, and I hope we take care of the ball, and I hope we're a lot more focused defensively because if you lose focus for 1 second against a team like Mount Olive, they're going to get a turnover and they're going to score on the other end.
The postseason around the corner. I'm kind of glad these two guys are next to you. What is kind of the tune? Is this your favorite time of the year? And then what's kind of the tune and message to your team?
I don't know, favorite time of the year. It's a stressful time of the year. And we've come a long way. I'm not just because we weren't great tonight doesn't mean we haven't come a long way. We were 1-4 at one point this year. So, we've taken steps obviously in the right direction. We've been playing really well. You're due for an ugly game every once in a while. So, it's really, we've tried to just focus on game by game basis. We try to write the number of games we have left and then, okay, what's the next step? How do we improve? Well, taking a day off tomorrow is a way we can get better for that game on Wednesday for guys resting and whatever cold he has over there, okay? And then come back Monday, and that's the day we can get better and improve for taking each day at a time and trying to get better. Is the focus when you get down to this point in the season.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks.